Alright, so welcome back to my channel, you guys. Want to go ahead and do my Sephora VIB sale. First impressions for you guys, and I do have all the makeup on my skin, so y'all can tell how everything turned out, but I will go in a little bit more detail for you guys on each product I did pick up. I know I only picked up 4 products, but at the same time, they're really good products, so I want you guys to go ahead, watch the video, and see my thoughts on each one of them. And before you go ahead and watch this video, make sure you like and subscribe, and with that being said, let's just go ahead and jump right into the video. Alright, so first, I think I'm gonna go ahead and start off with the eyes, just because I really want to test out this palette and see how it performs. And I do have the Natasha Denona Sunsets palette. I'm sure you guys have seen this because it came out 2 years ago, so it's been out for a while. But for the VIB sale, they had it for $99, which is so crazy to me. And with my 15% off, I think it was like $80 something. I can't do math right now. So it was a pretty good price, but this is what it looks like. I cannot wait to jump into it and see how it performs on the eyes. And there's so many shades in here. I think for this look, I'm gonna do like a gold, like brownie fall makeup look, so we shall see how this turns out. So I already went ahead and primed my eyes. I used a Fenty Beauty concealer in the shade 410, but I'm just gonna blend out the creases because I see the concealer is already creasing on my lids, so I first blend it out before I blend any eyeshadow on top. So now it's all blended out. Let me go ahead and jump into the palette, you guys. I honestly don't even know what shade to use first because there's so many pretty shades in this palette. But looking at the names, I think I'm gonna start off with Horizon, which is like a very nice caramel brownie shade, or actually maybe orange. Let me swatch it first and see what it looks like. It's a very nice orangey brown shade. So I'm gonna start off with that in my crease. I'm using my Morphe M504 brush. So right off the back, I can tell with this eyeshadow, it is very pigmented. So make sure when you're using these shadows, you don't dip your brush into it too much because it'll be a lot to blend out. So I'm gonna start with a light hand first and just build the color up. And I'm going back into the palette. I'm just gonna keep blending the shade onto the crease. So usually when it comes to a lot of palettes out there, I will say when it comes to those brown shades and a lot of palettes, they're very muted or too ashy for my skin tone. But with this shade, you guys, I'm sure y'all can see on camera, but it's very pigmented. It's blending well so far, and I love the color and the undertone because it's a very nice brownie orangey shade, and I feel like it looks good in the crease area. So far so good. Okay, so going into the next shade, I'm gonna take the shade called C9, if I said that correctly, and it's a very nice brownie red shade on the very bottom. So I'm gonna take this also and put it in my crease, and I'm taking the shade right below Horizon, so like right in the inner socket of my eyes, just to add a little bit more dimension. Alright, so far the crease is looking really warm, which is what I'm going for, but I do want to add a little bit more depth. I'm taking the shade called Terra, which is a very nice like deep brown shade, and I also want to put that in my crease just to add a little bit more depth. So let me see what it actually looks like. I hope it's not too red because everything on my crease already looks really red. I feel like this shade is actually good the more I look at it. And because I want a little bit more darkness in the outer corner of my eye, I'm going to go in with Volcano. Is that how you say it correctly? Volcano right here. And this shade is like a very deep, like brown shade. It has a little bit of like a cool tone going on in there also. But I want to put that in my crease and just add a little bit more depth because everything just looks really warm on my eyes so far. So now comes the hard part because I don't know what shade to put on my lids. I want to use the popular shade called Bronze Age. A lot of people are saying that's a very nice bronzy shade, but I'm kind of leaning towards Aubade, like these words, y'all, I cannot say it. Aubade, I think that's what it's called. It's a very nice golden shade right here, but then this one here is also a really good one. So I'm not sure which one I want to do, but I think I will go ahead and use this one right here. And to apply the shade, I'm using my eyeshadow brush from Miss Glam in the style M15. I'm just gonna apply it on my lids and see what it looks like. I don't think I need any Fix Plus because y'all, like, look at how intense this eyeshadow is. It is so pretty. Wow, you guys, like this is very, very pretty on the lids. Okay, so now that the eyes are done, I'm gonna move on to my next item, and I do have the Anastasia Beverly Hills liquid liner in the shade Black. When it comes to a matte liquid liner, you guys, this like beats everything else out there. It's so black, it's so intense, and it's very, very matte. So let me take it out the packaging and show you guys what it looks like. So this is the liner itself. I love the color, I love everything about it. It's very, very sleek. Now I told you guys before, when it comes to opening this up, it's kind of confusing because you think it's the short end where you open it up, but it's actually the long end. So this is the liner itself and the wand, and it's a felt tip liner. And I know some people don't like this because for them it's hard to control, but for me I think it's very easy to work with. So I just want to go ahead and try this out. Now when it comes to me actually putting this on my lids, you guys, I'm not gonna say too much because I feel like when you're scared you actually mess up. So I'm gonna try to be calm and do it really good for you guys. All right, so let me try this out. I'm not gonna lie, that was a lot easier than I thought it would be. I was so scared at first, but the wand is very easy to work with, you guys. Like if you're worried about it at all, don't be, because I didn't have any issues at all, and I love how matte it looks. Like, I'm so happy. And to finish up the eyes, I'm taking my Huda Beauty Samantha No. 7 lashes, which is a very nice like winged out lash, so I think it would be perfect for this look. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply this. Okay, so we're finally done with the eyes and we're gonna move on to the face. And I do have a foundation I have been meaning to try, you guys. I am so excited and ready to try this out finally. And it's a McGrath Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Foundation. And I did get it in the shade Medium Deep 27. Before we even touch this foundation, I just wanna look at the packaging because the black and the gold is just everything to me. I love how expensive this looks and it feels very, very heavy, you guys. But let me show you guys the inside because I know that's what you guys are looking for. And this is the actual bottle itself. Look how beautiful this packaging is. Like, I don't even want to use this foundation at all because one, it's really expensive, and two, like, it's just so nice. I don't even want to touch it. So I will say, when it comes to this foundation, I had a hard time seeing what shade I was. I thought I was like 25 at one point, even 30 and 31, but I went with the shade 27 because it has a neutral undertone. And when it comes to me, I don't have a golden undertone or like, you know, a very reddish undertone. It's a very neutral undertone. So that's why I went with this foundation, and hopefully it matches me to the T because I don't have any Sephora's out here that do carry this foundation currently. So yeah, I do hope it fits me. But this is what it looks like on the back of my hand. I'm just gonna dot it on my face and see how it applies. But I just noticed I don't have any primer on, so yeah. I swear I was just getting way too excited, so I forgot to apply primer, but I do have my YSL Top Secrets Instant Matte Pore Refiner, so I will apply that on my face. And I'm not removing this foundation, like it's gonna stay right there. I'm not gonna apply any primer to that side because I'm not trying to waste any foundation, but I will apply it everywhere else on my skin. Alright, so finally I'm good and ready to go. I went ahead and did all the steps I was supposed to, but it is what it is at this point, you guys. So let me move back onto the foundation. I do have it on my face, and when you feel this foundation, it feels very nice and velvety. Like, it feels a little bit different than my normal foundations I do have. I'm not sure if it's in my head, but I really do believe it feels a lot different than any other foundation I do have out there. So let me just apply this on my skin and blend it out. I'm using my sponge. I know some people said to use your fingers or a brush, but I normally use a sponge. So I'm gonna try this out first and see how it applies on the skin. So right off the back, you guys, I can tell it's a very light to medium coverage foundation because I can still see my skin peeking through. At the same time, it is not a bad thing at all because I do prefer formulas like this, because when it comes to my Dior Backstage Face and Body Foundation, I do have it in the shade 6W. It's a very light foundation on the skin. It is not heavy at all. It is not full coverage, but I do like the way it looks on my skin. And when it comes to the shade, you guys, this shade is perfect for me because it is not too red or orange. It's a very nice neutral tone on my skin. So far I am loving the way it looks, but I do want to go ahead and build it up just a little bit because I want to see how far I can take it. So by applying another layer, I will say everything looks a lot better because you can still see my skin peeking through, but at the same time, everything looks really nice and flawless and just like seamless. So I'm loving the way this looks on my skin so far. And I feel like this shade, you guys, like this shade is really, really good for me. Like I've never had a foundation match me like this before. So let me go ahead and do the other side and stop talking too much and just blend everything out. Now that it's all blended out, I will say I am more in love with this foundation because when I bought it, I really didn't have like high expectations for it. I just thought it was gonna be like a very dewy foundation on my skin, but I will say with the matte primer, it looks good on my skin. Like it's not dewy at all like I thought it would be, and I love the way it is sitting on my skin. But when I do go ahead and do the foundation review, I will do a more in-depth version for you guys where I tell you about the foundation, how it applies on the skin, how it wears throughout the day if you do have oily skin. So I will do a more in-depth review, but for today I just want to show you guys what the color looks like on my skin, and so far I love it. So now I'm going to move on to concealer. I'm using my Cover FX Power Play Concealer in the shade And Deep 2. You guys have seen this on my channel a million times, you guys. And then to set my face, I'm using my Huda Beauty Easy Bake Powder in the shade Kunafa. And also for those wondering, I didn't bake my face today. I just didn't feel like baking it. So you guys are probably thinking like, did she skip a step? I did go ahead and set my under eyes, but I didn't bake. But now to set my face, I'm using my Hourglass Translucent Veil Powder. And I always use this all over my face, but I will use this powder that I just bought from the Sephora VIP sale. And it's a Make It Forever Matte Velvet Skin. And I do have it in the shade Y535. Now the reason why I bought this is because when it comes to my nose area and also my smile lines, I do tend to break down when it comes to my foundation. So I want to see if this will make everything like stay together and not move at all. But let me first set my whole entire face. So now that my face is set, let me go ahead and move on to my Make It Forever Matte Velvet Powder. And I do have it in the shade Y535. And let me show you guys the packaging because I think it's very sleek and nice. And once you open it up, you guys, like the mirror is so freaking big. Like I love how big the mirror is. And it also comes with this little sponge right here. So I'm taking my Real Techniques setting brush. I'm just going to press this powder into my skin and see if it makes everything just look really nice and flawless, because my foundation on my nose just never looks good at all, no matter what I do. So let me just press this powder into my skin and see if it makes a difference. And so far, it is making my nose look really, really good. I'm not sure if y'all can see it on camera, but at first, my nose looked really patchy because I told you guys before, no matter what foundation I put on my skin, my nose always looks patchy. But with the powder, it is looking really, really smooth. So it's actually doing the job. But let me just keep pressing it into the skin. So I will say I'm really impressed because out of all the products I bought, I wasn't sure how this one will perform, but on my skin, it is doing a really good job, especially because when I did the haul for you guys and I swatched the powder, it looked a little bit gray and I was low-key nervous because it didn't look like that in Sephora. But you guys already know when it comes to Sephora, like their lighting is a little bit off, but I will say it looks good on my skin. Like it doesn't look gray at all. So I'm really happy it turned out well. So I'm not even being dramatic right now, but this is the best my makeup has ever looked. Like I've never had a foundation that matched me this perfectly. The powder, like everything on my skin just looks really, really good. And I don't know, I'm really happy I tried these products out because like the prices, y'all, the prices were a little bit steep, but I'm still glad I went ahead and bought them. So moving on to bronzer, I do have my Fenty Beauty bronzer in the shade Coco Naughty. This is nothing new on my channel. I'm just gonna bronze my skin up a little bit. And for blush, I'm taking my Makeup Forever blush in the shade Y502. I always forget the name of it because it's not on the blush at all, but I think it's like a number like that, but I will put it down below in the description box. And for highlighter, I'm taking my Juvia's Place highlighter in the shade Nubia. And I haven't really been big on highlighter lately. I've been loving a very matte skin, but I will still apply a little bit just to make everything look together. So to finish up the eyes, I'm taking my palette again, and I'm taking the shade, I'm not sure which one to use. I think I'm going to use C9, the top shade right here, and that's the only shade I'm going to use on the bottom part of my eye. I don't want it to be too dramatic. I'm just going to run it underneath there. So last but not least is the lips. I'm taking my Dose of Colors Chocolate Wasted Liquid Lipstick. This whole entire look with a dark brown lipstick is everything to me because it reminds me of fall. So let me just apply it on my lips and show you guys what this shade looks like. Like, look how dark and chocolatey it is. Alright, so I'm back with my face completed. I'm sure y'all can tell I love every single item I got during the sale. There's nothing bad at all I can say about any of these products because the way they blended on the skin, the way they look on my skin, my makeup has never looked this good, and I'm just so happy with how everything turned out. So looking at all the products in front of me, I will say if you've been thinking about grabbing these items, definitely go ahead and do so because I do think they're worth it. Okay, so let me know down below what you guys picked up during the sale, and I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in the next one.